Originally, I was looking to find a part-time job. I had was looking to pay some medical bills, and a Clark International team member, BJ Donahoe, recommended coming to Clark. Knew I had a security background in nuclear security and corporate security. And to tell you the truth, when I had known about Clark International and my opinion of these guys was there were some very elite, like super ninjas, and it was the term that had always come around whenever we would discuss Clark International. We knew that they had high-profile clients from Warren Buffett to many others in Omaha. But I decided to, very gladly decided to go ahead and apply, and then wound up getting the interview, and then interviewed with Dalton, and wound up getting the job, and that was coming up on 2 years ago. From day one, my attitude was put the team first, and whatever they need, I'm going to do my best to provide to the best of my ability. The other portion of that is, and it happened quite a bit, is if I wasn't too sure of what I was doing, I sought the advice of the more experienced team members. And they were more than willing to bring me up to speed or to help me in any other ways. My father has this particular, we call it malady, where everywhere he goes he runs into somebody that he knows. And my wife says I've got this same malady or curse. But my father always says, everywhere you go, you want to make friends. And to make friends, you have to meet people at their needs. And then more than likely, when you help them, they'll help you back. And that was the attitude that I took coming into Clark. I came in also knowing that I was, on certain things, I was at a training deficit. So I sought that knowledge from the more senior people. And they were more than willing to help me in any way, because they were also interested in my success as well. To me, the core value of being humble means approaching something without pretension, having an open mind, and taking in the needs of the client. A major problem that I see in our industry is a lot of folks, while you have to have some authority, some people use that authority as this is the only way that things need to be done, and they don't take into account the experiences or value that other people may bring. So if you come in without pretension, you come in with an open mind, realizing that you may have some experience, but somebody else's experiences may add more value. That's how I view being humble, coming in without any pretension, and ready to take in the experiences of others. Selflessness. So the core value of selflessness, I would define that as putting the needs of others before yourself. When I approach an account, I usually try to find out what is their core need. Are they looking for more of a personal touch? Are they looking for more of a regimented structure with checks and reports? So when it comes down to it, the essential core of being selfless is putting somebody else's needs before your own. I really feel that people who are humble or selfless, even though they may be an authority in a field, they'll take in information from other folks. They'll take in then the other experiences. There's quite a few people within Clark International that I would say are pretty selfless. First person that comes to mind is John Hansen. There's been many times where I've needed something, and John has either showed up personally or made time in his busy schedule to call and give me guidance. He would probably be the #1 person. Another person that I find is pretty selfless is Paul Antoniak. I've worked a couple different accounts with Paul, and Paul has gone out of his way to make sure that not only myself, but whatever team he's working with have the tools that they need in order to get the mission accomplished. One of the other core values is, I believe, is constantly learning. And being selfless ties into that, because I was always taught that the best, consummate professionals are always learning something. If you feel if you've gotten to the point that you know everything, then you're not really learning. You're not taking in new information. You're also cutting off the viewpoints and the value of other people and their experiences. You're, in a sense, invalidating it. In my experience, people who are humble and selfless and are willing to take in other people's experiences and values tend to take it into themselves and then increase their own value. And when they increase their own value from the values of others, it creates this scenario where the old adage is true, or rising tide raises all ships. So when you raise the collective value of the team, it provides a benefit not only to Clark but to Clark's clients as well. And in the view of like competitiveness, it's funny because I've seen, or peculiar because I've seen it in Clark and at certain accounts I work with, where one person tries to improve, the other person is like, well, you know, look at them trying to do something a little bit better. You know what, I'm not going to be left in the dust. And then they tend to ramp up their game. And then so you see two people who are trying to constantly improve. Well, then their value to the company for Clark goes up, and it goes up for the client as well. I've worked one account where one person decided they were going to start learning Spanish so they could start speaking to the cleaning crew and some other folks that come in and help. And so then the other guards decided that they were going to learn Spanish too. Well, the client started taking notice, like, "Are you speaking Spanish to the service people?" And we're like, "We absolutely are." And then they were very pleased to see that we would not only take an interest and meet other people at their needs so they felt more comfortable in the account. What it did also is it fostered a relationship with the cleaning crew, so then if they ever saw something, they're like, "Hey, we noticed that there's maybe some strange boxes over here. We don't know who placed them. You might want to look into it. You might want to check the cameras." It fostered goodwill, and that goodwill was elevated everybody in that account. It was a wonderful thing to see. We won't mention any names, but there is a particular site lead that has an extensive background in law enforcement. Asset recovery, was also an exceptional athlete in the sense that competed in mixed martial arts, has literally been in the octagon and fought. This individual is a site lead, but started off as a USO, and was willing to, when you have that pedigree, but was willing to come in and start as a USO and humble themselves to learn from the ground up, and start from USO, go to ASO, go to ESO, and then to become a site lead. To me, that is one of the core essences of being humble, to be able to say, "Hey, I'm going to start at the bottom rung and learn at the very basics and go up, so I get a better and broader perspective of the company." That same site lead will also, even though he's a site lead, will, if times needs be, will also cover the SOC positions at his site, because he's here for the team. And he doesn't look at it as a diminutive thing. He looks at it as, this is what's necessary to make sure that the client's needs are met, that our promise to our clients is going to be fulfilled. And he looks at that role as not a diminutive role, but an essential role. And I think that's what makes him stands apart. Is most other places that I have come across, they would say, "Well, that's a station that's beneath me." This particular site lead this is an element of the job that is also critically important, and if I need to fill that role, I'll fill that role.